Welcome back to TYT Sports. Friday in the studio. You're going to see these clips on Saturday and Sunday, though. Back with Andre Snellings to talk about basketball and back to talk about the 2016 free agent class because Hoops Hype, thank you guys for running a few polls in regards to the most lucrative backcourt and frontcourt players coming into the 2016 free agents and whether or not they deserve a max contract or not. So starting with four backcourt players that we chose to break down: Bradley Beal, DeMar DeRozan, Mike Conley, and Dwyane Wade. Starting with Beal, shooting guard for the Wizards, 75% said no, does not deserve a max contract. Moving forward to DeMar DeRozan of the Toronto Raptors, a much closer, actually not even close at all, 73% said DeMar DeRozan deserves a max contract. And we move to Mike Conley. This one's got a little more grit to it. Conley deserving a max contract, 41% said no. 41% said yes. I was in that 41%. I have my reasons, which we'll get to in a little bit. And then lastly, the aging flash, Dwyane Wade, 21% said yes, he deserves a max contract. I was also in that 21%, but I might be biased because there's Knicks in the picture, you can see. So, Andre, Beal, DeRozan, Conley, Wade, where do you stand on the max contracts for the summer?
So, I was listening to your logic. It was actually kind of interesting. Of the four of them, I would argue that none of them deserve a max contract.
Yeah, there's always the deserve and will get a max contract, which is a good argument as well.
Yeah, because especially this year with the new TV money, max contracts are going to be flying left and right. But to me, my thought for a max contract guy is somebody who's going to be the best player on a contending team. Sometimes if you have a really good fit, you can say a secondary player who's not best but is almost might deserve a max contract. But with these guys, I don't see any of them. Now, obviously, Wade, when he was healthy in his prime, he would have deserved a max contract. But he's on the way down now. And with his knees being like they are, I don't think you'll be able to rely on him in any given year moving forward. So I would say no to Wade. DeRozan and Beal, I think, are similar. They're both kind of scoring wings. They're both athletic. To me, they're both, neither one of their games are complete enough to be the top guy. It was ironic. Beal actually was the one that got the least amount of support. Is more comfortable from the perimeter, which is just vital in this day and age. And I think he may have a little bit more ability to scale up, but I wouldn't really have either of them as a max player. And then Conley, that there are other point guards that you could get that could give you what he gives you without having to pay a max contract. So I would say no to all of the above.
Right. So I agree with you on all those points because I was taking the stance on not so much deserve, even though that was the question, like who's going to probably get a max contract? You made the point. They're going to be coming out left and right. You know what? Maybe me and you will get a max contract as well. I'll take one. I'll take
it. I got some bills to pay.
Right, exactly. And that's why I look at a guy like Conley and DeRozan thinking that they might or they probably will get them. I mean, the reality is almost all of these guys could get one. But in terms of deserving, I'm not going to argue against you. I just am super biased towards Dwyane Wade. But I also like the point that you make that he's on his Wade down. That was very nice. Slip that in there. Nice pun for Dwyane Wade. But in terms of deserving him, you are correct on all your points, truthfully. So let's move to the front court because there's some guys in the front court who are absolutely deserving of a max contract, one of which comes to mind. We'll get to, I think, as the third card. But we start with Al Horford, somebody I believe who has that portability trait that we've talked about, that you've coined in a way for Pau Gasol. With the Atlanta Hawks, 38% said he deserves a max contract. Harrison Barnes is next. One of the unsung heroes, or not credited heroes, of the Golden State Warriors. Almost all the team is, but him and Andre Iguodala have been phenomenal this year. 82% said no to the UNC product. Card number 8, Kevin Durant. I'm really curious who the 2% are at this point who said, no, give Durant less money. The next one that's following is another max guy, which would be LeBron James. A lot more not in favor of LeBron, maybe the LeBron haters. 10% said no, he does not deserve one. And then we get to the centers, Andre Drummond, Dwight Howard, and Hassan Whiteside. Drummond overwhelmingly, 86% said yes. Although liable on the defensive end, he has been putting up double-doubles like it's his day job, because it is his day job, actually. Dwight Howard, a lot more hate for Dwight Howard. I believe it's an overwhelming amount that said no, he does not deserve one. I'm Right, 92% said no. And lastly, Hassan Whiteside, someone I know for a fact, Andre, that you could rip into for his advanced analytics because he's one of those players that isn't making the team better, although his block parties are exciting to watch. But 59% said he does not deserve a max contract. So I think we can safely assume Kevin Durant deserves a max contract, and I think he's going to definitely get one. Probably the same with LeBron James. As for the other guys on the list, Al Horford, Harrison Barnes, Andre Drummond, Dwight Howard, Hassan Whiteside, where do you stand on those guys as well?
I have a lot more yeses in this group than I did in the backcourt. Durant and LeBron, I tried to combine them into one person. Durant and LeBron are no-brainers. I mean, they deserve a max contract. They're going to get a max contract, especially LeBron's in Cleveland. Then Al Horford, they voted him no. I would say yes on him. He's, I gave the condition of best player on a contender, and he may or may not be capable of being that, but he definitely could be in that second category where he's almost as good as the main guy and he's at a position of a more scarcity. He's a center for this day and age. He could play either power forward or center, but he's very effective at both. So I say yes on Horford. Harrison Barnes, I say not quite because he's an unknown. He could do more than he's doing in Golden State, but he's not asked to. He doesn't have to. And it's to his credit that he's willing to subsume his game, but I'm not positive enough that he could scale it up enough to be worth a max deal. So I would say no to Barnes. Andre Drummond, my man in the D, that's where I'm filming from. I say yes to him. I mean, it's funny. Drummond and Howard are back to back on this list. I wrote my Hoops Lab today. I made the argument that Stan Van Gundy is trying to recreate those 2009 Magic in Detroit with Andre Drummond playing the Dwight Howard part. And Drummond is getting close to what young Howard was. So I say yes to that. But old Howard, I agree, is not worth a max deal. So I would say no to him. And Hassan Whiteside is the kind of player that gets GMs fired. His upside would be yes. Like he does things defensively, rebounding the ball. He makes your mouth water.
Yes.
But he's a risk. So I think he's going to get a max deal this summer. If I was a GM in a very, very secure position or a very, very weak position, I would offer him one because, either I'd be safe enough or I'd be swinging for the fences anyway. If I'm in the middle of the road slot, then I'm probably going to go for Horford more than Whiteside.
You make a great point. I think he is trying to make Andre Drummond Dwight Howard. I hope Drummond stays with the Pistons. I equally hope that defense becomes something he focuses on a little bit more to really make him a superstar player in the NBA. You need a good rim protector. But outside of that, there was a few other names we didn't put on this in the cards. We're going to leave the link to the Hoops Hype column below. And, of course, it's not just the only Hoops Hype column to be hyped about. The Hoops Lab column is also linked every week in the Dr. Andre 3000 clips in the description box below. To make sure to check those out.
3
great
stacks.
Columns. I was going to say, how your Twitter handle isn't Dr. Andre 3000 is amazing. But it is.
You make a good point. You make a good point.
At Professor DRZ on Twitter. Make sure to check him out over there as well as on RotoWire. You can follow us at TYT Sports and myself at JasonRubin91. We're going to be continuing our NBA What If conversations with a great Carmelo Anthony clip. Make sure to stay around for that one as well. We'll see you next time.